There is one number that controls every dollar you will ever earn, save or lose. It takes 3 seconds to use, no calculator, no spreadsheet, no finance degree, and it will tell you exactly when your money doubles, exactly when your debt spirals out of control, and exactly when inflation quietly cuts your savings in half, all with a single division problem. Almost nobody is taught this. Yet it has existed since 1494, buried inside a math textbook written by a Franciscan monk in Venice. It is called the Rule of 72. And by the time this video ends, you will understand why a 10-year head start can be the difference between retiring with $1.4 million and retiring with $596,000 from the exact same monthly investment. The rule itself: take the number 72, divided by your annual rate of return. The result is how many years it takes your money to double. At 6%, 12 years to double. At 8%, 9 years. At 10%, just over 7 years. At 12%, 6 years. 3 seconds of arithmetic. That is your entire doubling timeline, no app required. Where it came from? In 1494, a Franciscan monk named Luca Pacioli published a 600-page mathematics textbook in Venice. The same book gave the world double-entry bookkeeping, which is why Pacioli is still called the father of modern accounting. He would later become Leonardo da Vinci's personal mathematics tutor. Inside that book, Pacioli recorded the Rule of 72 as if it were common knowledge, something every Venetian merchant already knew and used. He never proved it, he simply stated it. The mathematics required to formally prove it, logarithms, would not be invented for another 120 years. The rule survived 5 centuries because it works. Not approximately, not roughly. With remarkable precision in the ranges that matter most to everyday investors. The rates you actually deal with. Here's what the Rule of 72 looks like applied to accounts and rates most Americans actually encounter. A standard savings account at a major bank currently earns around 0.4%, the national average according to the FDIC. Divide 72 by 0.4, your money doubles in 180 years. You will not be there to see it. A high-yield savings account earning 4.5%? Doubling time, about 16 years. Better, still slow, a balanced bond fund averaging 6%, 12 years per doubling. The S&P 500 index, averaged across the past century with dividends reinvested, has returned approximately 10% annually. At 10%, your money doubles every 7.2 years. That is faster than the average American pays off a 30-year mortgage, by a factor of 4. An aggressive growth portfolio averaging 12%, a doubling every 6 years. Now the other side of the ledger. The average U.S. credit card APR currently sits above 20%. At 20%, an unpaid balance doubles in 3.6 years. The same rule that builds wealth destroys it, just running in reverse. The Rule of 72 does not care which direction it runs, it just keeps counting. The same $10,000, 30 years, 4 outcomes. Take $10,000, lock it away for 30 years and leave it completely alone. Here is what happens depending entirely on where you put it. At 2%, it grows to about $18,000, barely one full doubling. At 5%, roughly $43,000, 2 doublings. At 7%, about $76,000. 3 doublings. At 10%, over $174,000. More than 4 full doublings. Same amount, same person, same 30 years. The only variable is the rate. And here is the part most people miss completely. The 10% account does not produce 5 times more than the 2% account. It produces nearly 10 times more. The reason is how doublings stack. The first doubling on $10,000 adds $10,000. The second adds $20,000. The third adds $40,000. The fourth adds $80,000. Same rule. Same percentage. 8 times the dollar impact, just because you gave it more time to run. The $800,000 gap nobody talks about. Let me make this real with 2 people. Sam and Rachel both invest $400 a month into an S&P 500 index fund, both average 8% annual returns. Both plan to retire at 65. The only difference is when they start. Sam starts at 25. Rachel starts at 35. Rachel contributes $48,000 less over her lifetime. That is the entire gap, $48,000 in contributions across 10 missed years. At 65, Sam has approximately $1.4 million. Rachel has approximately $596,000. Read that again. A $48,000 difference in contributions became an $800,000 difference in outcomes. Sam did not earn more. He did not invest more aggressively. He did not pick better stocks. He simply started 10 years earlier and got one additional doubling at the end. That final doubling carried the entire stack with it. This is the math every honest financial advisor is trying to explain when they tell young people to start now, even with small amounts. It has nothing to do with how much you contribute in any given month. It has everything to do with how many doublings you give your money before you need it back. The clock runs both ways. The Rule of 72 is not only about growth, it is equally a measure of how fast your purchasing power disappears. Sam retires at 65 with $1.4 million and plans to spend $80,000 a year. At 3% annual inflation, the cost of that exact same lifestyle, same groceries, same utility bills, same travel, reaches $160,000 a year by the time he is 89. His spending power has been cut in half. Not because of a market crash, not because of poor decisions, simply because time passed and the rule of 72 kept running. At 3% inflation, money loses half its purchasing power every 24 years. At 5% every 14 years. At 7% every 10. It reduces, and this is also why your stated return is not your real return. If the S&P 500 averages 10% but inflation runs at 3%, your real return, the part that actually buys you more, is closer to 7%. If you are earning 4.5% in a high-yield savings account during a 4% inflation environment, your real growth is nearly zero. If you're sitting in a 0.4% savings account, you are losing ground every single year. The balance goes up, the wealth goes down. The penny that breaks your brain. Here is a quick exercise. Take a single penny 1 cent. It doubles every day for 30 days. How much do you have at the end of the month? Do not calculate it, just guess. Most people say somewhere between a few thousand and a few $100,000, a reasonable guess for a reasonable brain. The actual answer is $5,368,709. From 1 penny. In 30 days, on day 10, you have $5. On day 15, $163. On day 20, $5,242. On day 25, $167,772. On day 29, $2.7 million. On day 30, it crosses $5 million. The entire journey looks like nothing is happening for the first 2 weeks. Then it explodes. This is exactly what compound growth looks like in a retirement account. Flat and unimpressive for the first decade, then accelerating in ways that seem to defy the contributions you made. Your brain is wired for addition. Compounding is multiplication. That mismatch is why so many people give up early. Look at their 30-year-old retirement account, assume the system is broken, and stop contributing. The system is not broken, you're just in the flat part of the curve. The back half is where everything actually happens, when your money earns more than you do. At some point in the compounding journey, something shifts. Your invested money starts producing more wealth per year than your job does. At a 10% expected return, a $500,000 portfolio generates roughly $50,000 a year in growth, automatically while you sleep, without a single additional contribution. At $1 million, that number becomes $100,000 a year. Now, that does not mean you can safely withdraw $100,000 annually. Decades of research on sustainable withdrawal rates puts the safe number closer to 3.5% to 4%. So a $1 million portfolio can realistically support around $35,000 to $40,000 in inflation-adjusted spending without running out of money in a normal retirement window. But the point is not the withdrawal rate. The point is the moment when compounding overtakes your effort. When your invested money earns more than your labor does, you have crossed the line that most people spend their entire careers trying to find, and most never do, because they never ran the rule of 72 early enough to understand what they were actually building. 2 things worth knowing before you walk away. 2 honest caveats. First, the S&P 500 averages 10%, but it almost never actually delivers 10% in any single year. Markets are not smooth, they are jagged. The index was up over 25% in 2024. It was down 37% in 2008. The rule of 72 is destination math, not journey math. It tells you where a consistent rate will take you over time, not what the ride will feel like along the way. The real journey is uncomfortable. The destination is still real. Second, the rule is most accurate between 6% and 10% annual returns. Below 4%, the rule of 70 is slightly more precise. Above 15%, the rule of 76 fits better. But for the rates most ordinary investors will realistically deal with across a working lifetime, 72 is the right number, and the reason is practical. 72 divides cleanly by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 12. It was built for mental math. Pacquioli did not pick it by accident. What to do with this right now? The rule of 72 does not build wealth on its own. It gives you a clock, a way to see how fast your money is actually moving, how many doublings remain between today and the day you stop working, and what rate of return you genuinely need to reach the number you have in mind. Most people never calculate this. They guess, they assume, they tell themselves it will work out somehow. The math does not care. It runs every single day, doubling or compounding in the wrong direction, whether you're paying attention or not. So pay attention. Take your current balance, pick your expected rate, divide into 72, count the doublings between today and your retirement date. That number, not the one you feel, is your real financial timeline. The clock has already been running. The only question is whether you know how fast.